Cuando piensas en Escocia, lo más normal es que se te venga a la mente algo como esto. Pero posiblemente al llegar al aeropuerto te toparás con alguien que diga Hiya, how are ya? Y palabras que posiblemente con tu inglés británico te sean imposibles de descifrar, pero en estos sencillos pasos serás capaz de comunicarte con un verdadero Scot laddie lassie. El escocés tiene sus orígenes en las invasiones vikingas a Gran Bretaña, cuando Escocia era comúnmente llamado Northumbria, y la parte norte formado por varias tribus procedentes de los pueblos celtas. Sin embargo, el escocés inglés proviene de la unificación de los reinos de Inglaterra y Escocia, en el que por medio del contacto las lenguas se unificaron, pero algunos rasgos del escocés se mantuvieron, quedando incluso algunos dialectos muy diferentes al inglés. Los diferentes dialectos de Escocia se pueden dividir fácilmente por zonas geográficas, en escocés del norte, dórico en el noroeste e inglés escocés en el sur. Basándonos en los clanes que aparecen en la película de Pixar Brave, hemos realizado una distinción entre los diferentes acentos que se pueden encontrar en Escocia, con unos pequeños vídeos ilustrativos.
El escocés del norte se habla sobre todo en la llamada Highland y en las islas. Es en este dialecto donde encontramos las mayores influencias del gaélico, una lengua indoeuropea de la rama celta que llegó con la expansión de los reinos norirlandeses.
I present my only son, who was besieged by 10,000 Romans, and he took out a whole armada single-handedly. With one arm, he was steering the ship, and with the other, he held his mighty sword and struck down the whole attacking.
El escocés era una lengua germánica que se originó a partir del habla angla de los logios. Este desplazamiento del gaélico al escocés se produjo desde Escocia oriental hacia las tierras bajas occidentales, extinguiéndose el gaélico en la Escocia sudoccidental hacia el siglo XVIII. El inglés de Escocia, Scot English, es el nombre que se le da al dialecto hablado por más de 1,5 millones de personas. Tradicionalmente se emplea en las tierras bajas del país y también en algunas partes de Irlanda del Norte. Comparte, además, una serie de características con los dialectos en inglés que se hablan en el norte de la nación.
Your Majesty, I present my heir and sire, who defended our land from the northern invaders and, with his own sword, stabbed blood, vanquished 1,000 foes. Good Majesty, I present my eldest son, who scuttled the Viking longships, and with his bare hands vanquished 2,000 foes.
El caso del dórico, el dialecto hablado en el noreste de Escocia, centralizado en la ciudad de Aberdeen, resulta especialmente llamativo.
If he was a wee bit closer, I could lob a caber at him, kin.
Aunque dejaremos la explicación a un auténtico Scotsman, como es Kevin McKidd.
Honestly didn't know at first. So here you are playing somebody I can actually understand,
Right.
The Lord, and then his son. I have absolutely no idea what that guy's saying.
I know.
And that was based on a dialect from your part of the country.
That's right. Well, Pixar asked me, they said, look, we want you to play two characters, and we want the young character, the suitor, the guy with the big chin, to be, very sweet and heartfelt, but completely incomprehensible to everyone other than his father. And they said, so can you just make something up? And I said, well, I could, but maybe one better is, there's this dialect that my grandfather used to speak, and a lot of people still speak in the Northeast, called the Doric, which is almost like it's so far north that it's almost verging on a Norwegian kind of dialect. And a lot of people in Scotland can't even understand people from that area sometimes when they get going with this. So they said, well, do something for us. And I did it. And they're like, what did you just say? I was like, well, that's perfect, right? And they loved it. And they said, and I think they loved the fact that it is a real dialect as opposed to some made-up thing. And I think it adds a little comedy to the proceedings. And I'm very proud that I managed to put my home dialect into a big Pixar movie.
All right, so answer this next question in your home dialect. What do you think of haggis?
Well, haggis is half a fine meal, and I wouldn't mind eating it every single day. Can I mean, when you get it, what you get a hoor and a sear stomach with.
Okay, I got about 1/8 of that.
Al analizar la fonética escocesa, encontramos diferencias relevantes entre la pronunciación propia del inglés RP o estándar y la del inglés escocés. Podremos hacer además una pequeña clasificación entre consonantes y vocales. Por un lado, en cuanto a las consonantes, encontramos que el escocés estándar es un acento rótico en el que la R se pronuncia como un tap alveolar, tal y como se explica en el vídeo. La CH normalmente se pronunciará como G, siendo el caso más evidente el de la palabra love. La velarización de la R será otro de los rasgos distintivos de la fonética escocesa, normalmente introduciéndose otro sonido entre la lateral y la R que le precede. Asimismo, encontramos que los sonidos P, T y K, a diferencia del inglés estándar, no se aspiran, y lo que es más, la T, por norma general, cuando no está en posición inicial, se sustituirá por el sonido glotal. En este vídeo de Gareth Jameson, voice coach de www.londonvoicelessons.com, se explica claramente cómo imitar el acento escocés, prestando especial atención a los rasgos distintivos ya explicados y a otros que veremos a continuación.
Now, the key to any accent is to isolate the sounds that are specific to that accent. So when I'm talking about a Scottish accent, I'm going to talk about a very generalised Scottish version of the English language, sometimes called Scottish English. There are, of course, many different accents depending whether you're in Glasgow or Edinburgh or Aberdeen. This one is probably what we'd call a general Scottish accent. Now, the first thing you need to work on is your R sound. So for most Scots speakers, they don't actually use the R that we associate. It would be very rare to hear murder with big long R's. It's much more common to roll the R just for one roll. It's called a tapped R. Bright red. So let's see bright red like that. Also in words like butter and bird. Notice that it's tapped, so it's not bird or not bird, bird. Also, if you get an L after the letter R, sometimes you'll have an extra syllable on the word, so that girl becomes guddle, guddle, and world becomes world. The loveliest gull in the world.
En el caso de los vocales, las diferencias estarán más centradas en la duración de las mismas y la reducción de los diptongos, de manera que en escocés solo tendríamos los sonidos U, O y A. Igualmente se reducirán los diptongos del RP, O, EI, IAU, en O, E y U respectivamente.
Our next feature is that the vowels in bath and laugh are the same as the vowels in trap and man. So quite often they're different for other accents, but in this accent they're the same. Bath, laugh, trap, and man. There's no difference. Bath, laugh, trap, and man. Also, the oo and vowels are the same. In the UK at the moment, there's a TV commercial with the tagline, good with food. The narrator on the commercial is Scottish, so we hear good with food. They rhyme in his accent. And that's the same for all oo and sounds, so that hook and pool are hook and pool. There's no difference between the pull of a rope and pulling a rope in the swimming pool. Pool. Pool and pull are the same. Pool.
A continuación veremos un vídeo en el que Craig Ferguson y James McAvoy hablan sobre algunos de los aspectos más relevantes del encanto escocés y los múltiples acentos que en este país se hablan.
Do you know what that was? That was the Scottish vacuum of charm. That was a great swirling vortex. I was actually scared to touch you as we came in because it's going to be like two positives cancelling each other out.
That's right.
And there'd be a huge implosion of the time continuum.
And what they don't understand is that everyone in Scotland is that charming.
I know.
We're the least charming people in Scotland.
We were thrown out.
We were thrown out for not being charming enough.
When they threw me out, they said, tell that Craig Ferguson never to come back.
Tell him never come back. You don't come back. You're not charming enough. And by the way, your hair looks fabulous. That's the way. That's what they say.
They said, tell that Craig Ferguson that he's changed.
Yeah. Craig. That's what they call me. Craig.
We say Craig, and you guys say Craig.
Yeah,
it's so weird. It's
Sometimes
like you're a
we
Craig
say
and Sussex.
tune and they say tune.
I know. Do you know when you said earlier you were sitting there and you said, this tune is the new tune, and then you checked yourself and you said in Scotland we'd say tune. I wondered if you were worried that I was sitting back there going, he doesn't say that. He shouldn't say that. He's so changed. probably
Well,
not.
I know I was.
I'm not that. I'm not that grown.
No, you are.
I am?
You are, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I thought, God, you go back and tell everyone in Scotland I'm saying tune.
I mean, I know. And then we'd all be like, ha 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 ha.
You know?
You're like, he's tuned. He's
You know,
tuned.
but there was something, you know, the Daily Record in Glasgow.
Yes.
Right, it's the kind of it's a tabloid paper in Scotland, and they put in their newspaper that I had lost my accent.
Really?
Yeah, I'd lost my accent, and I was now speaking in an American accent, which I told everyone in America, and they're like, oh, "I'm sorry, we don't understand what you said."
Yeah. Well, I said to the lady who did my hair, Jen, just a moment ago, I said, can you understand what I say all the time? She said, no, not all the time. I said,
Right.
Can you understand what Craig says all the time? She says, more than you, but not all the time.
Es probable que en un primer momento nos sintamos abrumados por la cantidad de palabras propias del léxico escocés que nunca hayamos escuchado antes. Así, mientras un escocés diría "The Bonnie Mary always ready in the fire when she's in the bed", un inglés optaría por "The Pretty Mary is always getting into trouble when she's in the mountains". Sin embargo, algunas palabras pueden ser parecidas a las británicas. Para comprobar esto, haremos un test. En un minuto debemos de asociar todas las palabras y en otro minuto debemos asociar las expresiones. Si al hacer esto has conseguido el 70% bien, es que eres todo un experto en léxico escocés, y si no lo has conseguido, ¡ay, mi mail! You should try harder. En el siguiente vídeo veremos la explicación de una expresión típica escocesa.
He is the dog's bollocks. Would you care to translate that for us, please?
He's very fine musician. Yeah.
Well, the literal translation is the dog's testicles. Isn't that right?
Indeed, aye.
But dog's testicles. I never understood that when someone says in Scotland, "Oh, he's the dog's bollocks."
He's a dog's bollocks.
But it means it's great. But it also means dog's testicles, which is not that great.
It's not that great, huh?
Unless you are the dog that owns the testicles. Right?
The dog's bollocks.
The dog.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I heaver,